Friends, today we'll study petrochemical engineering. Okay, now what is the petrochemicals engineering? It is nothing but the name itself says it is a study of petrochemicals. Okay, now what is the petrochemicals? So for studying a petrochemical engineering, we should know what is the petrochemicals and how they are produced and what are the raw materials required for producing a that is petrochemicals. Okay, now what are the petrochemicals? They are nothing but they are chemicals that are derived from the petroleum and the natural gases. Okay, and they are uh, generally they are very essential part of the chemical industries. Okay, and they are generally petrochemicals are used to manufacture the number of different products that we use day to day life, or we can say daily in our life. Okay, there are examples we can see here is the plastic, medicines, cosmetic, furniture, appliance, electronics, solar panels, wind turbine. These are the example or the product from the petrochemical industry. Okay, so in this lecture we will see what is petrochemical engineering, what are petrochemicals, what are the different products, and what are the different steps involved in the petrochemical engineering. Now we see in the first slide of a presentation, we can see here it is what is a petrochemical. The first thing we should know for studying petrochemical engineering is the petrochemicals. What are petrochemicals? They are nothing but a chemical derived from the petroleum product and the natural gases. Okay, the examples are of petrochemicals are the so what are the importance? So these are the product we get from petrochemical industries that are generally used in our daily life. So we can see here the paints are produced, rubbers, fabrics, fertilizers, cosmetic, carpenting, adhesives. Okay, these are the nothing but the number of products that we can get from the petrochemical industries, and they have a very huge importance in our day-to-day life. That's why for studying of petrochemical industry is very important. Now we see the next slide. There are number of steps involved in the petrochemical industries. So we can see here whatever the raw materials for petrochemicals are generally pure hydrocarbons. Okay, they are separated and converted to a desirable products. Then and it involves a various or the various several stages. Okay, so the stages may be grouped as the first step is we can see here is the first generation petrochemicals. So whatever the raw materials we are getting from the petroleum, they are first converted into the feedstocks, or it is also called as the first generation petrochemicals. Okay, so whatever the raw materials we are getting from petroleum or natural gas, we are converting it to the first generation petrochemicals, and their examples are given here. That is the ethylene, propylene, butadiene, BTX, and the gasoline. They are generally called as the feedstock for a petrochemical engineering. The first step, and the second step involved in this is whatever the product we are getting here in the first step is again converted into the next type of product. It is called as the intermediate or a second generation petrochemicals. Okay, so the examples here is the polyethylene, polypropylene, and PVC. Okay, these are the examples. Whatever the feedstock we are getting in the first steps, so it is converted into the next product, that is intermediate. Okay, and the last step involved in it is the finished product, or you can say the third generation products petrochemicals, and they are generally resins, paints. So whatever the product we are getting from here, it is generally converted into the finished product, and they are used in our day-to-day life. Okay, so we can see here the finished product and the third generation petrochemicals are generally resins, paints, coatings, synthetic fiber, dyes, soap, and the detergent. So these are the steps generally involved in a petrochemical industries. The first step involved is whatever the raw material we are getting from petroleum industries. It is given a physical and a chemical chain, and they are converted into the first generation petrochemicals. Again, after the first generation, then again it is given some physical and chemical changes, so it will converted into the second generation, that is second generation petrochemicals, also called as the intermediates. Then again, whatever the intermediates we are getting, it is again given a physical as well as the chemical changes, and it is converted into the valuable products. So the valuable products are called as the third generation, and that can be used for our day-to-day life. Okay, the examples are the resin, paints, coating, synthetic fiber, dyes, soap, and the detergent. Okay, so these three steps are generally mainly used in the chemical industry. Okay, so now we will see this process in proper sequence by this diagram. Okay, now we can see here from the starting point, whatever the raw materials we are getting from the petroleum industries. Okay, so we get ethane, propane, natural gas, naphtha, butane, all these things we get from the petroleum industries. Okay, now from this petroleum products, okay, then they are given a physical as well as the chemical changes and converted into a first generation product, that is called as the aromatics. Okay, generally BTX, benzene, toluene, xylene, then methanol, then butadiene, ammonia, butylene, ethylene, propylene. Okay, so first the raw materials from petroleum industries is converted into first generation petrochemicals, and they are generally ethylene, propylene, butylene, ammonia, butadiene, methanol, aromatics. Okay, then again these first generation products are again given a physical changes, and they are converted into the intermediates. Okay, now we can see what is the intermediates. They are generally glycerin, acrylonitrile, isobutylene, ethylene, stearine. Okay, so we give a physical change to or a chemical change to the first generation, we get a intermediate products. Again they have some importance. Again they can be used as a raw material for producing final products, or you can say the third generation products. They are generally, again the second generation is given physical and chemical change, and it is converted to a product, final products. You can see here industrial chemicals, paint coating, synthetic rubber, explosives, resins, foam, dye, adhesives, plastics, synthetic fibers, soap, and detergent. All these products are the final products that we get from a petrochemical industries, and they called as a third generation petrochemicals. Now we see what are the end uses. What are the end users? Okay, so which who are the end users of this product? So, okay, so we can see here from the diagram. So end users are generally clothing, appliance, vehicle machinery, electronic, office and industrial equipments, pharmaceutical, consumer products, building materials, furniture. All these are the end users of the petrochemical products. Okay, so that is why the petrochemical engineering is having a very large importance in our day-to-day life. Okay, that's why we are very interested in this type of study. Okay, now we see what are the first generation petrochemicals. So from the diagram itself we have seen the various first generation products, or we can say first generation petrochemicals. They are generally ethylene, butylene, propylene, then the aromatics, benzene, toluene, xylene. Okay, these are the products generally. They are whatever the raw materials we are getting from the petroleum industries. It may be either hydrocarbons, hydrocarbon gases, or a naphtha. Okay, they are converted into this type of products. So by converting, by converting the naphtha, we can get a benzene aromatic rings, that is benzene, toluene, xylene, and the heavy aromatics. Okay. Again, from that we can get a ethylene product, ethylene as a product. We get a propylene as a product. Okay, and the butylene. So these are the products we get, and they are called as the first generation or the feedstock for the petroleum industries. Now we'll go for the various examples. The major petrochemicals from petroleum products. So we can see here ethane, butane, propane, benzene, all these things are the petroleum products, and from that we can get various value added products. Okay, so we can see here from ethane, we get a various value added product. That is ethylene, polyethylene, ethyl alcohol, ethylene oxide, ethylene glycol, stearine, vinyl chloride, acrylonitrile. Okay. Then from propane we get a various type of value added product, like propylene, polypropylene, polypropylene oxide, isopropanol. Butane we get various value added product, that is isobutanol, butadiene, acrylonitrile, polybutadiene, etc. Then benzene, from benzene we get a various products such as phenol, styrene, polystyrene, then cyclohexane, caprolactam, fiber, nylons, etc. Again from toluene we get a nitrotoluene, phenol. Okay. Then from M-xylene we get a P-xylene. So these are the various products. So sulfur is also called as a petrochemical product. Okay. So from that sulfur we can get a sulfuric acid. Wax we get various products, okay, medicinal wax. Then coke we get a metallurgical coke, electro grade cokes. So these are the various value added products that we get from the petroleum products. So that is the importance of petrochemical industries. Now we can see the second generation petrochemicals. So whatever the first generation chemicals we get, it is further given a physical and a chemical change. So we can get a second generation product, and they are generally polymers of various hydrocarbons. So here we can see polypropylene, ethylene. Okay, so we get, so whatever the monomers we are getting, we can convert into polymer, and we can get a polyethylene, polypropylene, polybutylene. So likewise we can, so PVC, all these products are generally second generation chemicals. Now we can see the third generation. So whatever the polymers we are getting, they are further given a physical and chemical change. So we can get a value added product, that is plastics. Okay. Then again plastic will be given, converted into a number of plastics. It may be thermoplastic, thermosettings plastic. Okay. So these are the the products, final products, or the third generation petrochemical products. Again we get another type of product, it is called as a rubbers. They are generally used, it is also called as elastomers. Okay, they have a variety of large applications in our industries, okay, in our day-to-day life. Then various examples, so various reactions are involved for making such type of uh, reactions are the catalytic reactions. Okay, then there is dissociation, dehydrogenation, hydrogenation. So very first step for the petrochemical industry is the naphtha cracking. So as we have seen the definition of a petrochemical industry, the petrochemicals are generally derived from the petroleum and the natural gas. Okay, so the first step to produce an petrochemicals is the naphtha cracking. So what is the process here? It is nothing but the naphtha we are getting from the petroleum industry. It is cracked down, or you can say it is given high temperature levels to, so that can be cracked down. So crack is nothing but the higher molecular weight compounds are converted into the smaller molecular compound. Okay, generally if we know the end product of a petrochemical is nothing but the plastics and the polymers or the rubbers. Okay, so what is the requirement, what is the raw material for this kind of product is nothing but the you can say the polymers, monomers. So monomers are nothing generally ethylene. You can say ethylene is the basic raw material for these polymers. Okay, so most of the olefins are required for making a plastic, and they are generally derived from the naphtha. Okay, so from the slide we can see that the major plastic are manufactured from the olefins, which are available either by cracking of gases such as methane, ethane, propane, butane, or a naphtha. It is nothing but the naphtha is the best petrochemicals. Due to the large availability of a naphtha and the low energy requirement for cracking, so naphtha cracking is widely accepted. Okay. The naphtha is a mixture of hydrocarbons boiling in the range of the lowest boiling point component is around 150 degrees Celsius. That is a C5 compound we get at that point. Okay. So C5 compound generally are paraffins, naphthenes, and the aromatics. So paraffins are generally a straight chain hydrocarbons, and it yields the olefin when it is heated. The branch chain and the aromatic hydrocarbon on the other hand become heavier, and it can give a simple carbon. Okay, so it can be decomposed to the carbon. So this is the process. It generally happens in the naphtha cracking process. So we can see here to it is also the fact that the fact that the yields of olefin decreases with increasing the molecular weight. For example, ethane is thermally cracked to ethylene. Propane, butane, methane, naphtha gas are feedstock. If cracked separately, the yields will be, it is very low as compared to the ethane cracking. So it will be 45%, 37%, 30%, and 25%. Hence, the desirable feedstock naphtha should have a high content of paraffin and in the lower boiling range. So suitable boiling range of feedstock naphtha. So what we can see here. So from naphtha cracking we get the paraffin. The paraffin, from the paraffins we get the various that is a hydrocarbons. It may be ethane, butane, propane. So if we take a ethane from that, so it can be cracked at a very, and it can yield 80% of ethylene. Ethylene will be the basic product for the plastics or the polymers. Okay, so that is the basic idea. Now we can see here from the diagram, or we can say that from the reactions. So generally the cracking is taking place at the higher temperature levels. Okay, it is generally done in the tube steel or furnace at around 800 degrees Celsius. So from the reactions we can see the higher hydrocarbons are generally splitted into the low molecular weight hydrocarbons or small chain hydrocarbons. So from this diagram we can see here from the equations. So high molecular weight, high chain, long chain molecules are converted into a small chain molecules, and these are the nothing but the basic raw material for producing the petrochemicals that are required to produce a polymers. Okay, so that is the basic idea for the naphtha cracking. Now we can see here light hydrocarbons obtained from the initial cracking reaction further crack into lighter olefins and propagate until the reaction temperature is brought to the or quenched. Okay, so that is the process generally used in the industry. Now this is nothing but the operating so there is a operating conditions for a naphtha cracking. Generally temperature is around 800 and above. Pressure is atmospheric. The steam to naphtha ratio is 0.6 kg by kg. Reaction time is less than 1 second. Cycle time for cracker is 20 days. Yield of the ethylene will be 30% of a feed. So this will be the basic typical operating condition for a naphtha cracking. Now we can see as per the definitions, this is a diagrammatic representation. Okay, what it says that when we are separating naphtha, when fed to the separating units, we get 3 to 4 types of products. So it will be ethylene, propylene, butadiene, BTX. BTX are nothing but the benzene, toluene, xylenes. Then we get the petroleum ethers. So these are all the products from the naphtha cracking unit. Okay, generally we are concerned with the ethylene. So from that ethylene we can make a various types of product. So it will be ethylene glycol, ethanoic acid, then ethanol oxides, then PVC. All these things are can be produced by this product. Okay, then So from the crude oil distillation we get this type of products, that is a residual, then there is a diesel, gasoline, naphtha, then there is a jet fuels. So these are the products that is coming from. So we are concerned here with the naphtha that is being taken for the uh, production of that is the olefins. Okay, so that is the thing we are getting. So naphtha is we are getting from the petroleum industries, and further it is cracked down to get a various types of product, that is monochain hydrocarbons. Now you can see the diagram here. It shows the diagram, that is nothing but the higher molecular chain. Okay, high, so large chain hydrocarbons are further it is cracked down to the smaller scale hydrocarbon, that is pentane, propane, ethane. Okay, so these are the products that we get from the naphtha cracking unit, and further it is separated out for the various products. So this is the typical flow diagram for the naphtha cracking process. So from here we get the very first unit operation we can see here is nothing but the furnace. So this is nothing but the furnace where the naphtha is fed and it is treated at the higher degree Celsius, high temperatures, that is around 800 to above degree Celsius. Then it can be cracked down to a further process. So here we require a direct fire heating. Generally they are tube steel furnaces are used here, and after that further it is given to the separation unit where we get a fuel oil. Then from further it is fed to the coolers, then it is a compressor, filters, and again it is fed to the another separating units. So we get various types of separating units. Now here it is absorbers. So from here we get separate out the various compound, that is the oxides of a carbon, that is CO2, CO, H2S, sulfur dioxide, H2S. All these are separated out, and from that we get first is the demethanizer. So from where we can separate out the methane. Then there are the de-ethanizers from where we can separate out the ethanes, and it is further treated to ethanes are further treated and can get ethylene. So ethylene will be give a various types of product. Again from the bottom of that diagram, sorry, separating unit, we are getting a depropanizer. Then we get a product here is the propane. Okay, again propane can be converted into, again can be that propane will be converted into propylene. Again propylene will be the basic raw material for various types of products. Okay, again they will get a butanes. Butane will be again converted into butenes, and we can get a various types of, that will be the raw material for various types of product. So generally this type of, it is a typical type of flow diagram. Okay, so the whole assembly or whole flow diagram is converted into various types of, there are two section, that is a hot section where it is heated. So this section is called as a furnace section, is called as a hot section, and the remaining section is called as a cold section. So hot sections are generally where the so naphtha is treated at a higher temperatures, and further the whatever the product we get from that furnace, it is further cooled, separated out, filtered, and it is fed to the various types of distillation columns where we can take out the various types of products such as the uh, ethane, butane, propane, propylene. So from ethane we can get ethylene, from propane we get a propylene. Again from butane we get the butylene, and further all these products are again further treated and we get various types of polymers. So they are nothing but the petrochemical products. Now we can see it is a typical diagram of a furnace that is in the plant. So I have taken the diagram from the SABIC Europe. Okay, it is nothing but the 2 naphtha is used as a feedstock to the raw of furnaces on the steam cracking plant located in the Wilton, UK. So this type of diagrams are generally showing the furnaces that are used. Now we can see the inside section of the furnace where the section is divided into three parts. The first one we can see here is nothing but the pipes. It is called as a simple pipes steel furnaces. So first part is the vapor flows through the inside of the tubes in the furnace. Second is the rows of a furnace guns which burn the methane. Okay, and third one is the pillar. Then there is the cold section. Okay, so various types of separating units we can say here, the distillation columns, which can from where we can get a various types of products. So from section 1 we get a C4, C1 and C3 product. Again it is fed to the second column from where we can get a C3 hydrocarbons. From C3 third component it is given to the fourth distillation column from where we get a methane. Then from fourth to fifth we can get an propane. Then from fifth to sixth we can get an ethene. Okay, so these are the cold section of a naphtha cracking process, where each distillation column will yield various types of hydrocarbons. So from the first we get the methane, C1 and C2 compound. From the second we get the methane. From the third we get ethane. Likewise the products are separated out. So these are the references that have referred and have taken the photos from these websites, as well as I have referred the book. It is Fundamental of Petroleum and Petrochemical Engineering by Uttam Roy Chaudhary, CRC Press, Taylor and Francis Group. Okay, so these are the references I have taken. So thank you friends.